So this is the start of our 4-4-2 curriculum. We're going to break down all the different aspects of this formation. First, we're going to give an overview of what it looks like, a little bit of the history, how we got to today, the modern 4-4-2, because it's gone through a few iterations. Why it is actually making a little bit of a comeback right now, and why this is a great formation to know and understand and even play depending on your style and how you want to go about it. But let's take a look. 4-4-2, right? So very standard. This was the formation throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. And for good reason. This one has 4 backs, right? So full backs, center backs, okay? And then 4 across the midfield. So you typically have outside midfielders, 2 center midfielders, and another outside mid, and then 2 forwards. And what this used to represent was, teams like the Manchester United in the mid 90s and early 2000s, they like to get their outside mids up wide, okay? So the outside mids would be getting high and wide. They would be crossing balls into the box, right? And crashing the box for the 2 center forwards, usually a center mid here picking up anything that would come out, outside mid getting involved here as well. So it was very much an attacking formation, and it was designed to get balls in the box. It was designed to get forward quickly, not as possession oriented as we see today, a little bit more with things like the 4-3-3 and things like that. But this was, very much on the front foot, attack in waves. You have your 2 center forwards who are going to get involved. These midfielders here they'd win the ball and they'd get the ball out wide. So they were not as much possession oriented. But now as we've shifted to a little bit more of a 4-4-2 where there's 2 things, okay? Number one is sometimes in defense, since teams press a lot more now, you're going to see this look more like a 4-2-4. So you might see times where it's looking like these 4 players are the front line and they're pressing the opposing team, but then dropping back a little bit more in defense. So you might see a 4-2-4, but then when they do drop back, what happens occasionally is if the ball is out here, you might have this player pressing and these players shifting, but this outside mid shifting much more central to help provide balance and help make up for the numbers in the center mids, right? If the ball shifts across, now he pushes out, these guys shift, and he drops in very much to cover and help so that they're not outnumbered in the midfield, and the fullbacks are here. And then what we see now is the fullbacks getting forward, and these outside mids being much more of a possession style player. So the fullback is still getting up instead of the outside mid getting up. What we saw from the 2022 World Cup was Argentina played very much in a 4-4-2 like this, where they would be pressing. They'd have their midfielder drop this midfielder here, and they had Julian Alvarez and Leo Messi, right? A lot of times when you have a 4-4-2 today, one of the center forwards is going to be a little bit more of a withdrawn center forward. So they're going to come back a little bit, and they took turns, right? Sometimes Messi would come back, pick up the ball, or Alvarez would come back and pick up the ball. But that's what you see a little bit more today, whereas previously these 2 center forwards were much more attacking, but we've gotten into where you have a withdrawn forward who helps with possession. So the 4-4-2 has gone through a couple evolutions, if you will, and today it's very much relevant. It's very much a formation that can frustrate opponents and deliver on the attacking prowess that you want to do. It is seen a little bit more as a defensive formation in the modern game because you're looking to get the 8 players behind the ball instead of, in a 4-3-3, you would have 7, right? So it is seen a little bit more defensive, but there's a lot of different schemes that you can play with the 4-4-2 to make it a relevant formation, especially when you're playing defense to attack. And we're going to talk about all that kind of stuff throughout this course with the 4-4-2. So stay tuned.